You are returning Ellie. I want you to stand up. If you've been here before, stand up. So I want you to look at the people that are still seated. They are going to need your help in planning these rallies, and you're the expert. You've done it, you've lived it, you've breathed it. So if you're seated, I want you to look at who's standing and take notes, because you're going to call on those people a lot as you prepare your rallies. Okay, have a seat. Claire Gaudiotti is a world-renowned expert on philanthropy, and she was giving a presentation in Italy, and someone was like, why should we listen to you? Because America's so rich, that's why they have such high giving rates, because we're one of the most giving countries in the world. And she said this quotation, that Americans are not generous because we're rich because we're generous. So when you're planning your rally, you're going out into your companies, your places of work, your spheres of influence, and you're asking for support. As Americans, we're already wired to say yes to you. I'm going to give you 5 steps that you can follow that ensure that that yes is bigger and more impressive and more helpful. You just saw a rally, and generally they can take about 15 minutes, and as David said, you witnessed, every rally can be different, it can reflect your personality, but this is generally what you're going to be planning for and what you're going to be in charge of. 2 minutes for the CEO to give the welcome and endorse United Way and the purpose for being there. The company coordinator will introduce you as the LE. You're going to give your presentation, and the key to your presentation, the point of your presentation, is to make the ask. And we're going to focus on that here in a little bit. And then you can show the campaign, and I'm going to show you when, where to integrate that video into your presentation, okay? So a lot of times when people hear the word presentation, they freak out a little bit. We're not asking you to give a speech. We're asking you to coordinate and lead a presentation. So instead of throwing a fit, like my kids often do when I ask them to do things, I want you to think about how you can own this rather than be concerned about it. But when you think about, when someone says you're going to give a presentation, what are some fears that come to your mind? What are some things that bother you about that? Being asked a question you don't know the answer to? Okay, that's one issue. Let's say you're asked a question you don't know the answer to. How should you answer a question that you don't know the answer to?
Don't ever say I don't know. Say I'm not sure about that. Let me get the information and I will get back with you.
Exactly. Always say, I'm not sure what the answer is, but I'll find out and I'll get back to you. You never have to be the expert. I don't think anybody in this room is asking you to have all the answers. We're asking you to care enough to find out those answers to the questions that people ask you. Really good point. What else concerns you about making a presentation? When you're told you have to get up in front of a group of people, what fears come to your mind? Is your zipper this is a personal problem. But it might require personal. In the United States,
the pace of your presentation, the pace of your speech.
The pace of your speech. Like, is it too fast or too slow? Okay, so that's something we want to talk about. What else concerns you? Back here. What frightens you about public speaking? That everybody's looking at you, and you're wondering if your zipper's up and all that stuff. Yeah. Well, the whole point is to flip this, where you're not making it about yourself, you're making it about United Way. So when you start getting worried, or you start getting nervous, or you start getting scared, I want you to remember that your focus is on the message about United Way, not about you and your fears. Your focus is on what you're asking the audience to do, not that you're doing the asking. But above all, this is not about you. So the more afraid you are, the more selfish you're becoming as a presentation. No one is going to give or not give to United Way based upon the polish and the expertise of your presentation. They're going to give to United Way because you have passion, because you connect to the audience, and because you follow some kind of organizational pattern that leads them to giving, all right? And those are the keys to the effective presentation. Instead of worrying about your fear, or worrying about your pacing, or worrying about whether you're the expert, focus on your passion. If you care, your audience will know. And they're not going to sit there if you really have passion for United Way and go, well, Paul, you spoke too fast. What they're going to walk out of is remembering the passion you have for United Way and that they want to share it. So the key to your effective presentation and your effective rally is to bring that passion with you wherever you go, all right? Then you've got to connect that passion to your audience and make this about them, not about you. And the last one is organization, is following the organizational pattern that we're going to give you, the 5 steps to persuading your audience to give and support United Way. So let's start focusing on that, all right? To do that, I want you to get a note card out of your handy-dandy office supply tub. I want everyone to have a note card, and you are going to start outlining your part of the rally, your part of the presentation, okay? I'm going to give you 5 things that you have to do. We can do 5 things, right? Maybe?
Yes.
Yes, we can do this. This is not hard. It's not rocket science. There are 5 steps to persuading your audience to give, and you're going to make note of them on this note card. And when we're through with this note card, you're going to use this to develop your presentation. All right? So everything you have to say in your rally can be summed up right here. Not intimidating, not overwhelming, helpful. All right? So the first step in this process that we want you to go through on your note card is the attention step. There are 5 steps. This is called, if you're one of those people that likes to look things up and build credibility, this is called Monroe's Motivated Sequence. It's just 5 steps to persuading your audience. And the first step is the attention step. This is what a lot of people call your introduction. All right? So there are some really important things that you want to do in the attention step. Given that it's called attention step, what do you think the purpose of this step is?
To gather the people's attention.
You guys are going to do so
Being on.
What's the first thing you want to do is to get their attention, all right? So there are some things that you can do in your introduction. You want to have maybe a startling statement, a statistic, a brief story. There were several in the video. Did you do your tours to see the impact of United Way? You should have gotten lots of information in those tours that you can turn into this startling statement, all right? You just want to get their attention. What's one of the things on your tour that stuck with you, that had impact on you, that you learned when you were seeing what United Way does in our community? This would be that time where I ask a question and you provide a response.
The interfaith grocery store, that really got to me because some of these people haven't had fresh fruit in months. Something that we throw away daily because, I mean, they're lucky to get it. And then, but yet they also make it where it looks like a grocery store with a shopping cart. So it gives these people some dignity and not just like a handout.
Awesome example. And the key would be to turn that story into a 15 to 20 second summary to get people's attention. All right? What are some other things that had impact on you when you took the tours? When you saw what United Way does in our community?
When we
Go ahead, son.
went and toured the Mavericks, they were talking about